In a world where losing in your fantasy football league isn't an option, we present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
Right. Hey YouTubers, if you like what you see, make sure you click subscribe below. Today we're going to do our Week 5 Thursday Night Triple Threat. I can't wait to see who sings in this episode. So sit back, crack a cold one, and enjoy.
Football league isn't an option. We present to you Triple Coverage Podcast.
You look good. I look good. You look good.
Thanks, Quincy. Just make a catch and I'll feel better. Just get a touchdown, I'll feel better. Keep telling me that it gets better. Duke Johnson, does it ever? Punishment served. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's having fun but me.
You know what didn't get better is Dalvin Cook on last Thursday night's game.
That's for sure.
We're back, Triple Coverage Podcast, and I am here. I'm Jay. I'm here with my brother James.
Whoa.
And we have a special guest with us, Pete Rayner.
Hey guys.
What a tagline.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
this is the first time in studio. You've actually heard him on the podcast before. He's been over phone, but we actually got him to change his days off just for this podcast.
Yeah, it also happens to be a special day in this little guy's life.
What kind of special day is it?
It's my birthday.
Wow.
He's in his birthday suit from his waist down. You can't see it because it's underneath the tablecloth, but he's just sitting here, package out.
Even if we had him, even if we made him stand up, you still wouldn't be able to see it. So we're gonna go ahead and roll on. This is our Thursday night triple threat episode, and so we're gonna give a little review of last week, which was a shootout,
which we saw coming a long time ago.
The person that lost will sing their punishment. I'll leave that up in the air.
That's not me.
And then we will preview next Thursday's episode next Thursday's game for you.
Correct.
So let's get right into it. We saw a great game last Thursday night. It was the Vikings, it was the Rams, and it was just as we expected, and it was a shootout.
Yeah, all the points were scored in the first three quarters. The fourth quarter was only a field goal scored, so this could have been even higher scoring than it was. But the one thing I took away from this game is, what was the deal with Dalvin Cook? Was he on a snap count? He only had 10 carries. He was coming off an injury, and they were kind of, taking it, slow with him. But it's not like Murray didn't get anything either. Murray only got 2 touches. Cook got 10. What were they waiting for there? And if you are a Dalvin Cook owner in Dynasty, are you worried? Is it time to sell, or what are you doing? Do you own him in Dynasty at all, Pete?
Dalvin Cook?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. If you did, since you don't own him, I guess, are you looking to buy low on him and maybe go out and try to get him from one of the owners that's in the league, because you can basically say, look, he hasn't done anything. He came off a season-ending injury last season. Now he's been on and off the field again with hamstring issues. Do you go out and try to get him, or are you giving up on him for the rest of the season?
If it was me, I would give up on him the rest of the season. Almost like Fournette, because when you have hamstring injuries,
They linger?
Yeah, and I was very high on Dalvin Cook.
You tried to get him from the owner, which was David, and he wouldn't sell him. And I actually hung out with David last night, and I said, are you ready to sell him? And he's like, you know what? I like him so much, and for where I got him, he's like, I need to give him that leeway. Now's not the time, if you're a Dalvin Cook owner, to sell him, because he's at an all-time low, and people are just going to send you these low-ball offers that aren't going to be worth it to you, so you're not going to do it. Would you feel the same way, Jay? Are you going out and trying to buy him right now?
You know what? The knock on Dalvin Cook for us has always been his injury history.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't
His
just
shoulders, his knees,
it was all the way back
ankle.
to high school. Like, he's had 3 shoulder surgeries. He's had the ACL tear. Now he has a hamstring. It's never been a question of his talent. We all know how talented he is. But if you're going to roll him out there every week, Minnesota, and you're going to have him on a snap count, even he himself has said that he's not 100%.
Right.
So if he doesn't feel 100%, but he's okay enough to play, I don't know. I'm not looking to go out and get him right now, and if you're the owner of Dalvin Cook, you're not looking to sell him. So you're basically like in this limbo of having to probably play him, and then you just hope
like
for the best.
It's just like you said, just like Fournette.
Just
Fournette
like
is
Fournette.
a guy that's like, last week I'm like, okay, well he's my first round draft pick. I have to play him. I didn't feel great about it, but I'm like, okay, he's playing, I'm playing him. And then he plays like half of the first quarter and goes out with a hamstring and never comes back.
How many points did you get?
Like 4, I think.
Oh boy.
And it's like, that's your number 1 running back. So it's like, you have to play these studs. You always start your studs is what we kind of say in fantasy, but when that stud has a hamstring injury, you can't expect this huge game out of him.
The good news for him, though, is that he's by far and away the clear-cut number one running back. So when he is in that game, it's his game.
Right,
Because
and they throw it to him too.
Because Latavius Murray is completely healthy. And he's getting 2 carries when Dalvin Cook's only getting 10 on a snap count. And even though Murray had 2 targets and caught both of them, Dalvin Cook had 0. So it's Dalvin Cook's team as far as the running back position goes.
For sure,
but also, the Rams front 7 is very tough. So
Rams front 7 is tough, but at the same time, like, they scored 31 points, and it wasn't like they were getting annihilated. It was, I mean, and then you would expect it when you're down. That doesn't take Cook out of the game. A lot of times, like, okay, Adrian Peterson, for example, for Washington, if they get down big, it's like he's pretty much irrelevant, and Chris Thompson comes in and gets all the catches and the dump downs. Cook doesn't get removed. Whether they're winning or they're losing, Cook is going to be the guy that's getting the bulk of the carries. We just didn't see it because apparently he was on some kind of snap counts that they didn't make anyone know about, so none of the fantasy owners knew about that going into it. It'd be nice to know, but obviously you didn't. Now he's got a 10 days rest coming into his next game, so hopefully Dalvin Cook is trending up. But if I'm an owner, I'm a little worried. Just say that.
Do you own any Rams? Because the Rams look like an offensive juggernaut so far this year.
Just the defense.
Just the defense?
Yeah.
Even in your redraft leagues, you don't own any?
No.
I know you don't have any in Dynasty, but even
no.
The Rams are the team to have. I think that right now the Rams and the Chiefs are the 2 teams that you want to have as many players you can possibly have on those 2 offenses.
Here's a fun fact for you. The wide receiving core for the Rams have 3 players in the top 12 right now in a PPR league. All 3 receivers: Cooks, Kupp, and Woods. Woods is number 12. Cooks is number 11. Cooper Kupp is number 7. So if you have any receivers on the Rams, you're a wide receiver 1 value right now. So in Dynasty, for me, I'm looking to sell those guys. These guys are at the top of the top. Cooper Kupp being the number 7 guy overall, I'm looking to flip him right now because his value is at an all-time high. Robert Woods, same thing. Like, Robert Woods is one of those guys going to get you those long touchdowns, but I don't know if I'm comfortable with Woods for the rest of his career. For where he's going right now, you could probably get a first-round draft pick for Robert Woods, or even more than that, whereas maybe 3 or 4 months ago in the offseason, no one's going to give you a first-round draft pick for Robert Woods. So, to me, these guys are all flip candidates in a Dynasty League if you're looking for that kind of thing.
It's tough, though, because if you're built to win right now, you want those guys.
Well, I was going to say, I played Andre's mom in his league.
Oh, and okay, you're still talking about fantasy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you cheated
on her.
It's
definitely a fantasy.
I thought you were saying you cheated on her, but you played her. Go ahead. Okay.
Well, look at this. She had Thielen and Kupp. I was down
There's no
70.
way you won.
Not even close. I was down 70-0 before the game. Before Sunday.
We had somebody in one of our leagues that had Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp. So the hookup there was like 98 points, and it's like that's what's kind of crappy about the Thursday games. They are high scoring and they're fun to watch, but sometimes you're like going into Sunday and you're down 100, and you're like, well, this week's gone, and you don't even get a chance to even enjoy the Sunday games because you're down so much.
And then playing you in Dynasty, I had Thielen, so the 30 that he scored, I was like, all right, cool. I have a little bit of a cushion. I felt
you had your highest scoring game in your entire career in that league, I think.
Ugly.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm 1-3
You're actually
now.
doing pretty well in that league. You're doing 3-1, aren't you?
Yeah, and I'm 10 points behind you as far as having the most points.
Which makes it, though, like when you're trying to make trades for draft picks in the future, it makes it hard to sell those since obviously you're going to be a back end because you're going to make the playoffs. So when you're trying to get somebody like an Antonio Brown, it's kind of hard to sell those picks, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
Anything else from this game besides the fantasy relevance of our double threat wall bet that we did? Anything else that you want to touch on? Are you nervous?
I'm actually not nervous.
I think Pete's nervous.
Are you nervous for me to sing?
No, I tell you what I'm surprised about is the defense of the Vikings. Yeah.
Where is it?
I don't know.
Well, for the whole year, not just this game.
They just got lit up by the Buffalo Bills. And every one of us is like, okay, then this is going to be like a wake-up call. They're going to bounce back. But you can't bounce back against a Rams, so it's like, at what point? And then now next week they play Philadelphia Eagles, who also has a really high-scoring offense that can put up points in the passing game with Carson Wentz and Alshon being back and the rest, Ertz as well. So it's like, at what point is Minnesota going to kind of take that turn and start putting it together?
And we were talking
Doesn't
about
look good.
Minnesota, like putting these together for a few years, like not as like a dynasty for a team, but like as far as like having the pieces to be a contender for the Super Bowl every year because they had all those defensive guys under contract.
They all came
went
back.
out and they re-signed Diggs to a big contract. They had Dalvin Cook coming back. They were all in on Kirk Cousins. So we were talking about how this team is going to be hanging around for a few years, and their defense so far this year has not looked good at all.
Well, they're 1-2-1, and now, like I said, they play Philadelphia, so they could easily be 1-3-1.
Right.
And the NFC, when you have in the same division, you have the Chicago Bears are playing really, really well because of their defense right now. Trubisky lit it up as well, and you also have Green Bay Packers you always have to worry about. So it's not going to be an easy road ahead for Minnesota if they lose this next week. So they need to put it together pretty quick here.
I don't think they will, but I think they're going to win this.
You think
week.
Philly beats them?
No, I think Minnesota's going to beat them.
Oh, okay. Minnesota
bounce
beats Philly.
back?
You're also
In my opinion.
that's also from a Dallas Cowboy fan, and they can't give credit to any Eagle. What? You're not a Cowboy fan now?
For life.
I just gave an Eagle fan credit yesterday, so you can't say that we never give
What was
credit.
the credit?
I said how good
He
their
looks,
run
he looks good in his
their
uniform.
run defense. I said how good their run defense looks this year. It's still top 3 in my opinion. And I said their offense looks just fine besides their running back committee. It's their passing defense. Their passing
Well, yeah, their
defense looks
secondary is
nothing
terrible.
like it did last year.
It's the same guys though.
It's the same guys.
So
That's what I'm saying. So Super Bowl hangover, maybe just for that position. I don't know.
I know what Eagles fan you're talking about. He's really mad because I kept going like this
eating like
and
steak.
all this,
Uh-huh.
and he was getting really mad at me.
He
Is
got
this
mad about
I
throwing
thought,
up the X
I
because
thought
it's
the
Des
X.
Bryant.
I was just gonna say. Okay, that was what I was gonna say. That's not even Des Bryant.
I know, I just wanted to
Des
get him
Bryant
mad.
might go back to Dallas. I'm still don't knock the fact that that's a possibility right now. Des Bryant said he's going to sign with the team soon. He said it on his Twitter. I'm telling you, Dallas desperately needs a wide receiver there, and I don't see them having any interest in anybody else.
We're not interested in anybody
Exactly,
else.
we're not interested. They're not interested. They're okay with scoring 15 points a game.
Yeah,
you
we don't
can't
like
play.
receivers.
You can't play Detroit Lions defense every single week. Let's be honest. When they start playing the better defenses, I don't know how they're going to score.
I wish we could play Detroit's defense every week.
I wish Detroit could play Detroit's defense every week, but that's not a possibility. So for our wall bet,
Give us the breakdown. Yeah.
last week Jake took Jared Goff, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook. He had a total of 85.8 points, and it was actually a lot closer than I thought it was. I had Cousins, Gurley, and Diggs, and I scored 94. So I barely beat him by only 9, and that's because Dalvin Cook was on a snap count. He actually originally took Robert Woods and then said, but if Cook plays, I want Cook. So I gave him the option of which one before the game time. He went with Cook. If he would have went with Woods, I will be singing right now, but because he didn't and he chickened out at the end, Jay, it's your punishment time.
So Dalvin Cook is the one that burned me. So this song is mainly about Dalvin Cook burning me.
Who are you singing? What are you singing?
I'm gonna do Weezer, and it's not one of their like most popular songs, but it is getting a little bit of radio play. So maybe you've heard it. It's called "If You're Wondering If I Want You To." It's a nice little upbeat, up tempo.
All right, sit back,
Diddy.
crack a cold one, and enjoy the soothing sounds of Raul, ladies and gentlemen.
The moon was shining on the field that night. Your Vikings t-shirt fit the scene just right. You smeared on eye black. I looked into your eyes, I saw the fright. They told you stories about the LAD. You couldn't run the ball because your stupid bulky knee. I begged for more points, just put me out of my own misery. Then the football game clock stopped and I looked down at my sheet. I was watching you when you were right on my TV and I said, Cook, if you're wondering if I'm mad at you, I'm mad at you.
I'm mad at you.
So make a move.
So make a move.
'Cause I ain't got all night. The rest of the ball game was the best I ever saw. I had Adam Thielen and also Jared Goff. I saw your 10 carries for 20 yards and knew I got the loss. My bro picked Gurley and he's good at TCP. I dug you so much, I took one for the team. Travis was silent, his time was spent on all that house moving. Then the clock had all but stopped and I looked down at my sheet. I was watching you when you were right on my TV and I said, Cook! If you're wondering if I'm mad at you,
I'm mad at you.
I'm mad at you. I swear it's true. Without you, I wouldn't lose. There you go.
Wow. Punishment served. Oh, even a clap. Golf clap.
Pin
Rough
drop.
clap.
Golf clap. Oh, golf clap. Or we can do the like in the coffee houses, the little snaps, ginger snaps. See, that's not that bad, Pete. And I'm trying to say, I want you to join us in that, and you already declined respectfully. So I try to get you involved. It's fun. It's fun. Everyone has fun except for the guy that's singing, but it's fun for us.
Well, guys, I'm sure Travis is gonna be here soon. So
Travis is gonna be back. So hopefully this year sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, he'll be.
So now,
maybe it won't be double threat.
I was just gonna say, then now it gives us a 33% chance of losing instead of 50-50. But from now on, we'll do 50-50 going forward, which brings us to Thursday night's game, and it's the Indianapolis Colts at the New England Patriots. New England Patriots is favored right now by, or at least it was yesterday, by 10 points. Yeah, it's still 10. New England's favored by 10 points, and the over-under is 53. It's down to now 51.5. So people are betting New England and under. What do you guys think? What are you looking forward to? I kind of want to see who's going to play. You have T.Y. Hilton's questionable. Marlon Mack is questionable. On the New England side, you have, they said that Gronkowski's questionable, but I don't see him on the injury report now.
Edelman is supposed to be back from his 4-game suspension, too. So that's what I'm looking for the most, is that does he give them that spark that they need in the wide receiving core? Because Josh Gordon came back, but he was, limited. And you have Gronkowski, like you said, who's questionable with the ankle injury, even though I believe he plays.
Can you count on Chris Hogan? If you own Chris Hogan, it's like, where do you play him? You play him, then he does nothing. You don't play him, then he goes off, and then you play him again because he went off, and then he does nothing again.
Who are you talking about?
Chris Hogan.
Chris Hogan.
You don't like Chris Hogan?
Why? No. First of all, going into the season, I love Chris Hogan.
Okay.
From week 10 on last year till 17, he was a top 10 receiver.
Right, for sure
so
he was.
I had him in I have him in every league except for Dynasty.
Okay.
I drafted him, so I was very high on him.
Do you want him in Dynasty? Because I have him.
No. And that's exactly what you said. He had one good game.
But that's because, though, I think, is that he doesn't have that. You're talking about Philip Dorsett and Cordell Patterson, and they're only dressing 3 receivers up until last week when they had Gordon finally there. But there was no one to kind of get that coverage away from Chris Hogan. Now, to me, Chris Hogan kind of steps into, like, he's going to get the third option because they're going to want to stop Gronk. They're going to want to key on Edelman. Now, all of a sudden, it's like you have Gordon and Hogan. Now you have 4 options. And is this where Brady and the Patriots kind of just skyrocket into the offensive juggernaut that we know they are? They've kind of been sloppy the last couple of weeks getting it together. I mean, is this it? Is this where they finally turn? They playing the Colts at home. Like, this is prime candidate for them to score 40 points.
I know, but with the Colts being 1-3 this year, they've actually hung in some of the games.
But not because of their defense.
I know, but did you see the bonehead play they called last week in overtime?
Yes. Okay, I got to defend that. So to explain what happened. Do you remember?
It was a 4th down and 4.
Right.
And if they would have run the ball, punted the ball, they would have pinned Houston back.
Okay.
And they would have had to drive the whole entire field instead of going to overtime. Or that was in overtime.
That was in overtime.
Okay.
It was in overtime. And instead, they threw it, so it stopped the
clock. It was like on the 40-yard line.
Yeah.
Okay, but it was 4th down. And what Frank Reich said is, yes, you know what, maybe it was a bad call. But Andrew Luck came in and said, you know what, I guarantee you, he's like, to the people out there that have bets on it or that are watching the game, like, it is what it is. But as far as the locker room goes, every guy in that locker room loves that. He's putting we've already scored 31 points up to that point. The offense is rolling. We know that we can't really trust our defense. Obviously, he didn't say that, but they know they can't trust our defense. So it's like, hey, guys, we're going to go with what's been working. We're going for this. And it kind of gives that feel of, like, we believe in you guys to get this done. And, yeah, it backfired. But if that would have been successful, that could have been a turning point in this locker room to get these guys banded together to know that the head coach trusts them to go for a play on 4th down and instead of playing it safe and punting and doing whatever, because who's to say they still had 30 seconds. Who's to say that they wouldn't have gone down and got a field goal anyway? That's how bad this defense is. So I agree it was a little sketchy of a call on your own 40-yard line, but it was a move to be made of, like, I'm going to win this locker room over right now and let these guys know that I believe in them. Go out there and get that first down. I mean, what are they? They were 1-2. So it's like, what are they really? You know what I mean? It's not like they're 4-0 and they got this. It's like they're 1-2. They know that it's going to be uphill battle to even get anywhere near the playoffs this year. So why not take a chance?
But if that one loss. That one loss is the reason they don't get into the playoffs. They're gonna look back at this game. So I don't agree.
Possible.
I would have punted.
Yeah, but you play a lot of Madden, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're not gonna go for it right there.
In Madden, yes. Not in real life.
In Madden, you're like 4th and 4 around 4. Yeah, I can get this. I can get this play.
For real, I would have punted, especially in my own territory.
But then what? Okay, so then you're playing for a tie though at that point.
I'd rather have a tie than a loss.
You would?
Yeah, because that might.
But
come
you're
back to-
playing for
they're
a
1 and
tie.
3.
You're playing for a tie. So it's like okay. So instead of 1 and 3, now they're 1, 2, and 1. Like what is
Okay.
a tie is just the same as a loss when it comes down
That's
to.
true.
Well, yeah. Well, look, when it comes down to at the end, when they're tied with the team and
At the
they
end.
have 8 wins, and another team has 7 wins, or I'm sorry, 8 wins as well. Like that going into the last week, that's going to have a huge implication of that tie. A tie is not a win, so it might as well be a loss.
If you want to do that in the first half or in the third quarter, but not at the end of the game.
So
Not in
so you
overtime,
play
not
for the
in-
tie. Like that's gonna get your locker room guy. Everyone's gonna be fully supportive. Like, hey, my head coach he's playing for a tie. I guess, guys.
Playing not
Well,
to lose.
Right, playing
Now
not to lose.
The coach might get fired. He's
No,
not
he's
going to make the
not.
playoffs.
He's not gonna get
Well,
fired.
not in this first year.
I know,
This is
but
his
you
first year.
see what I'm saying?
So
though?
they'll
It's
chalk
just-
that up.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, as sketchy as it was, I think that it kind of helped the locker room kind of band together, in my opinion, of like, hey, we're not afraid to go for it. We're not afraid to play for the win.
Okay, so they're going to band together. Now, what happens if they get blown out?
Well, I think they will get blown, especially
Okay, so what's the band together? What is?
is because the locker room now believes in each other. Of like our head coach, this is okay.
But
This
you
is
should
a
believe
spot
that
where
already.
yeah, but T.Y. Hilton might not play. That's our number 1 receiver by far. If T.Y. Hilton doesn't play, their running game is atrocious with whatever they have going on back there with Marlon Mack and Jordan Wilkins and so on. So essentially, it's a bad defense and Andrew Luck. Like they don't have much. It's not like they have a bunch of weapons around them. So if you take away their number 1 receiver, then yeah, of course they're not going to be in the best spot to beat the Patriots on the road. But I just mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that they've been hanging in every one of these games, and it's not like they've been getting blown out. They scored 31 points last week. I mean, I don't know. I think the offense is kind of starting to click a little bit, and they're able to put some points on the board, so I like the over in this game. It's 50, what did I say it was, 51?
51 and a half, I think it is right now. I like the over in the game too. I don't think that I don't see New England shutting them down like they did Miami last week. There's a big difference for me between Andrew Luck
Like, they're-
and Ryan Tannehill.
Their leading rusher has 136 yards on the season for Jordan Wilkins.
Right, their
Like,
offensive
come on.
line actually hasn't looked terrible because Luck's not running around for his life, but they can't get a running game going right now.
I actually think Andrew Luck is a guy that I bought low in all the dynasty leagues that I could. And even though they took him out week 3 for that long bomb pass when they put Jacoby Brissett in, everyone made a big deal about it. I think he's been showing now that he's comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't mind getting hit. He's been getting up and playing. And I'm not really concerned about his neck and his arm anymore as I was going into the season. I think that he's okay now.
He's got more fantasy points than Brady at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's normal, though, because Brady and Patriots, sometimes it's a running game, sometimes it's a pass, and you never really know what you're going to get. They basically take what you give them on the defense, and it might not always be Brady. Whereas Andrew Luck, you know Andrew Luck's going to be throwing the ball minimum 35 to 45 times a game because they're going to be down every single game because the defense is so bad.
Which can segue us right into who we picked for this
So let's segue in.
Thursday night.
So Pete didn't want to join us. I'm going to say it again on the triple threat wall bet. He got scared when he realized he might have to sing. Gulp.
Even though special guests on this particular episode are 2-0.
2-0. They haven't lost. So we drew numbers. I drew the number 1 pick, and I went with Naheem Hines on the Colts because there was not much else outside of that. What are we doing? A stipulation if T.Y. Hilton does play, or just neither one of us is staying away from him? Because
We'll just both stay away because I
Okay.
got burned last week. and
so I went Naheem Hines. Jay, you had the second pick. Who'd you take?
I took Sony Michelle.
Okay, and then I was up again for the third pick, and I went with my quarterback is Tom Brady,
I took Ryan Grant because
Ryan.
I believe that Hilton is not going to play.
and then I had Gronkowski, which left you with Andrew Luck. So James has Naheem Hines, Tom Brady, Gronkowski. Jay has Sony Michelle with Andrew Luck and Ryan Grant. So you're definitely hoping for a little hookup with Grant and Luck. Otherwise, this is going to be a long week. You
I'm
have
also-
someone picked out for next week?
I'm also hoping for the Patriots get up so big that they just keep running Michelle in the second half.
That's
and
possible.
and that Luck has to keep throwing to Grant.
I mean, a lot of good options here on the Patriots that we didn't get to take because of how we do the what do you call it? How we do the picks. But I mean, you still have James White who had a big week, Edelman coming back that didn't get taken, Josh Gordon that didn't get taken.
Right.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't take White as your running back.
Yeah, it's only because I think the Patriots will be leading in this game. That's the reason why I didn't take White. I think they're going to be leading, so I don't know if they'll use them like they did last week.
But they were leading the Dolphins the whole game,
I know.
and he still
I
got 30.
I don't know if this happens again, though.
Okay.
Are you trying to sell James White right now?
Yeah, you want him?
No, no. Apparently,
Antonio Brown?
apparently he's a deal breaker when it
You-
comes to. I don't get it.
How did
All
you
my
not?
picks.
How do you not think you made out on that trade? Like I gave up James White to you for a 3rd round pick. Like it just goes to show you that you never know who gets the better side of the trades.
Right now he's a top 10 running back, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
In a PPR league, yes.
Right, but it wasn't like that last year. We didn't see this coming.
But
So-
here's the thing with me with Dynasty. We have about 4 minutes or so to talk. Is that in Dynasty, you can't just go with what the guy has done the last 2 weeks. You can't use a 2-week sample size. So, for example, in last year when you were so high on DeMarco Murray, or was it 2 years ago, and you're like, okay, well he was a number 2 running back. I'm like, listen, I know he was number 2 last year. This is a different year and it's a different situation. And then all of a sudden now DeMarco Murray's out of the league as a free agent. Same thing with James White. If I would have came to you at week 1. Even after week 1, if I would have came to you and said, hey, look, I'll give you a 3rd-round pick or a 2nd-round pick for James White, you would take it in a heartbeat. Even you not liking picks. Because of the situation you're in, you're kind of hurt at running back, so maybe you particularly wouldn't. But that's what his value was. All of a sudden, James White has 2 good games, and it's like, oh, I don't want to give him up because blah, blah. It's like you can't just look at that 2-game sample size.
But why did Jay give him up for a 3rd-round pick?
Because
he wasn't doing good.
That's not why.
Not true. It's because the situation I was in, I had too many guys and I had to trim down my roster, so I had to get future picks instead of just dropping guys on the waiver wire.
He had a bunch of average running backs like the James Whites and didn't you have like three or four guys that are all
I had like
Giovanni Bernardish kind of guys that are like.
But you just said it. He's average. James White is average. He's just been lucky these first 3 or 4 games. So yeah, I've made out now.
But that's what happened last season with like Mike Gillislee. Comes out, scores 2 touchdowns, and the next week scores 2 touchdowns, and the next week you're like, oh, where's Mike Gillislee? Oh, he got cut. And then it's like Tariq Cohen, same thing. Blows up the first 4 weeks, maybe has a little stretch in there where like there's going to be huge ups and downs, and you can't just go on what the guy did last week or what the guy did last season or what the guy did 2 years ago. It's like you kind of have to look for today, moving forward, how do you feel this guy's going to do? If you think that he's going to be a top 12 running back coming into the season, then yeah, by all means, his value skyrocketed in your opinion. But do you really think that's what it is?
I mean, I got a top 8 receiver right now, Deshaun Jackson, but you don't even want him.
Correct. Because now Winston's going to take over that job, and you need to sell. And you have 1 week basically to sell Deshaun Jackson. Otherwise,
You sure don't want him?
Who do you guys like in this game? And then we can cut it off with the point spread. 10 points.
Who do you like?
10 points or laying?
New England minus 10.
Oh,
51.5.
that's a lot. I would take the under, and that's a lot of points. I'm gonna take the Patriots anyway. That's
So
a lot.
Patriots and under for Pete. I like the Patriots and the over. I'm a little worried that the Colts might not score, especially with T.Y. Hilton being out. But I think New England can easily rack up 35 points, which means the Colts still got to score like 17-ish in that range. Yeah, it's so hard to take a 10-point favorite with the under because once the Colts get to 20, you can't win.
You can't win anymore. Yeah. I also like the Patriots and over, which means I probably won't come in if we both like the same way. Usually it's been the trend.
I'll stay away in this
James
case.
and I agree.
To be honest, yes. To just be honest, I'm probably not going to mess with the total. I'll take the New England Patriots minus the 10 and hope that they just roll them. They'll be 3-2, and all of a sudden Miami loses, and now they're right back into the first place in the division like they always
very
are.
similar stat-wise, too. If you look down at the stats, like points per game, like 23.8 for the Patriots, 23.5 for the Colts.
Total yards.
Total points allowed per game is pretty close, and total yard everything's really close.
If you didn't know it was New England versus the Colts, and you just looked at the actual stats, you'd be like, okay, what's the line in this game? Like 2.5, 3, 3.5-ish? No, 10. So
it's the Patriots are getting that bump just because they're the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and
because
Tom
if
Brady.
you look at the stats for the first 4 games of the season, it's very, very similar.
Well, let's crack a cold one and we can decide.
Crack it.